Okay, Shalom Ubracha, welcome and welcome me. Thank you. First time ever in this neck of the American state and country, whatever. We'd like to start off with some jokes. Bezat Hashem. First joke is when Golda Meir brought President Carter to the Kotel for the first time. And she was explaining to the president what the power of this wall. And she said, any prayer you asked for is answered here. He said, that's great. That means if I ask that America be the strongest economy in the world, my prayers will be answered. She said, yes. And if I ask that America overpower the Russian weaponry and everything, my prayers will be answered. Yes. And if I ask that the Israelis make peace with the Arabs, my prayers will be answered. She said, no, now you're talking to the wall. Now, a second more religious joke. There was a lady, she called her husband. Yes, dear. And she said, please tell me a joke. And he said, honey, I'm in the middle of kollel. I'm learning now in kollel, you know? She said, well, not the joke yet, wait. The joke. The joke. So she says, honey, I'm in the middle of kollel. She said, okay. Tell me another joke, please. Okay. We're going to hopefully some simcha b'ezat Hashem. I'm on a tour now, every night another city, another class, but I'm starting off of the same point because this has affected us all. What happened over a month ago, we're still shocked. It's like somebody came and pulled the rug from under our legs. What in the world has happened? What is Hashem trying to tell us of what happened? To answer that first, we're giving a possibility, but based on Torah sources, Rabbi Nachman sources, let's take a look at the year, how it began. We basically didn't even begin the year yet. It didn't even start yet. We weren't given the chance even to begin the year. To explain. The Ben Ish Chai says on Hoshana Rabbah, the name Hoshana indicates, he says, save us. Na can mean please Hashem na. But na is the gematria of 51. What's 51? You have the 30 days of Elul and the 21 first days of Tishrei. So Hoshana Rabbah is the culmination of 51 days of intense davening and learning and tshuva and slichot and teilim and asking forgiveness and taking upon yourself new things. And then there was Rosh Hashanah, the judgment of Rosh Hashanah. If you're a tzaddik, then you're inscribed for life. If a person, God forbid, a Rasha, is inscribed for death. If he's in between, he's given until Yom Kippur. On all these things, the culmination is on Hoshana Rabbah, when, like the sages teach, the ptakim, the issuing of the actual verdict and edict is actually sent out. If you were judged now on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, okay. So they think you're guilty, you're okay, you're not, but that goes out on Hoshana Rabbah. Okay, that's why Hoshana Rabbah, people normally wear the Keter again. There's excess davening. There's 7 times hakafot of the lulav. We stay up all night saying Tehillim because we want to give another chance. There's still a chance to, if there was a negative judgment issued against me or Am Yisrael, we can still do something to prevent it. This goes into the night of Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah. Rabbi Nachman, he says that when we say on the night prayer of Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah, the Kriyat Shema, and we say Hashem Elokechem Emet Ve'emunah, when you say those words, Ve'emunah Kozot, your parnas of the whole year is also solidified and finished and finalized. So that means, technically, the night of Shmini Atzeret is still judgment time. So therefore, when does the actual year begin? On the dancing of the morning, Simchat Torah. Okay, Simchat Torah day is when we start off the year with a blast. That's why there's the dancing, and the simcha of Simchat Torah is basically a recognition of appreciation that Hashem loves me, and I have a part. When dancing with the Torah, what it means is, Hashem, you chose me, even though I am as I am. I have the merit to hold something which is so complete, the Torah. Even though I have all my ups and downs and everything, my life is shaky, but I'm still a Jew. I still have a part in this, and I'm happy because of that. And that's how we start off the year. This year, they didn't even give us a chance. When did we hear stories of the Hamasnikim entering the kibbutzim and everything? What time? What was it? 6:30. When was Netz in Eretz Yisrael? 6:34. Yerushalayim was 6:36, 6:32. The year didn't even start. At Netz, boom. Didn't even get, Hashem didn't wait a second, like boom, right? We didn't have a chance, and already this mob. Okay, number one. Number two, the first thing that hit us, everyone, we're all crying, bawling our eyes out, was what? The Nova Festival. These poor kids, 3,000 children, teenagers, whether they were born not religious or whether they were born religious but fell off, they were all looking for simcha. It was Shabbat, it was Yom Tov, but these kids don't know better. They were looking to have some high, if it was through smoking, dancing. They were looking for simcha in a different format. Okay, they were looking for joy. That's number 2. Number 3, the hostages. That was the killer. When we heard about hostages, you see the videos, you couldn't stop crying. Everybody, right? What does the Torah say about hostages? Parshat Kitavo. Parshat Kitavo, 98 curses. Of them, please forgive me, I don't know the exact wording of the verse off by heart. Banecha uvnotecha bashevi. Your sons and daughters are taken hostages. Okay? And in the 98 curses, the Torah, it's not a Hasidic word. In the Parsha Kitavo, it says the reason. And why will these 98 curses befall you? Tachat asher lo avadet Hashem Elokecha besimcha. You got it? It's not a Hasidic word. It's a pasuk in the Torah. Again, Simcha Torah, these kids looking for joy, and the hostages. Okay? You have to be stupid not to see it. It is so clear. The message is Simcha. What does that mean? I'm crying and breathing and mourning. But what's the message Hashem is telling us? What can we do after this happening? Is it our mission now to be mourning and watching 24-hour-a-day YouTube videos of how this one was taken and this one is taken, and just to be sad because I have to identify my Jewish identity? I have to feel some suffering. Is that what's expected of us? Or resilience? We're supposed to take what happened and now build a better bond of Simcha with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what seems to be the message. It happened on Simchat Torah, the hostages, these kids. It seems just on a practical level, what we can do to improve, what we can do to learn from what happened in order to get back up, is we have to work even more so on being besimcha now. When we say being a simcha, there's only one true simcha in this world. Sorry to say it, but the only simcha in this world is when it's connected to Hashem. Simchat HaMitzvah. Because this world in itself is pure empty. There's nothing to be happy. Okay, I go to Club Med, have my nice vacation and my Ferrari and everything. And you come home. Oh, you broke that? You come home and you say, I need a vacation from my vacation. Come on. They're like, it's ridiculous. This world in itself, empty. The Midrash says a story of a Roman official. And he invited the Chachamim to he was making a wedding or whatever. And the Chachamim respected the Roman official. And they came. And it was very gourmet, exquisite, golden tables. Roman official, everything's fancy schmancy and everything. And one dish wasn't to this Roman official's liking. He got so upset, he took one of the golden tables and he smashed it. And the Chacham said, whoa, what is this? He said, you Jews, you have a purpose in this world. You're doing everything here for the world to come. All we have is this world. So if this world is not perfect, I have nothing to live for. If it's not perfect, then I have nothing to be happy about. There's nothing. It has to be perfect or nothing less. That means in this world, first of all, there's no perfection. We all know that. There's nothing perfect. And in itself, it's a dead end. What's the beauty of this world? Is that we can buy a nice house and have Shabbos inside and do achnasat orchim and raise our kids and learn Torah and buy good, delicious sushi food so we can have a say brachot and have a seudah. We can do good stuff of this world when it's connected to Hashem. We do a retreat for a Shabbaton. Oh, that makes sense now. Let's go to Maui and Club Med, but to look at Shabbaton and everything. I can take this world, bring it for an eternal purpose, an eternal thing, because every time you do a mitzvah, it's eternal. It's never erased. You said a bracha in 1925, you said a bracha there, whatever. It's etched forever. It's never going to be lost. And any time you did something tiny for Hashem, it can't be taken away. Even if a person goes through what he goes through and does terrible things, the good is not erased. That's why I have what to be happy about, because it's eternal. Anochi esmach b'Hashem, simchu b'Hashem, begilu tzadikim. Our simcha as Jews is eternal. The Goyim, exile is the exact opposite. Rav Nosson writes, a disciple of Rabbi Nachman, that the essence of exile is atzvut, sadness. Okay? Judaism is simcha. Exile is atzvut. When these Hamasnikim take the grandmother's Facebook and she's showing the grandkids how they're killing them. What's their intent, these crazy people? What's their intent? To make tsar, to make suffering and pain. Why? To get them to be sad, because that's the essence of Galut, is to be sad. That's the whole thing. Our thing is simcha. Yidin are simcha. Galut is sadness. Our battle, our fight in exile is to maintain stability by being always happy, no matter what. That's this. We have a joke in Breslov that we drink 7-Up. What's 7-Up? Shevei pot tzadik vakam. We fall 7 times, we get back up. 7-Up. In other words, resilience with simcha to get back B'ezrat Hashem. All right, I had to get this off my chest. This is something that everyone should hear of a different. Many rabbis and mikubalim, they say, okay, I'm Israel. We have to do more tefillot. We have to do more tzedakah. We have to do more learning Chafetz Chaim, Shvat Arash. Everyone, all these rabbanim are saying many things, and they're all good. But the cup of everything seems to be like the klalot say, Tachat asher lo avadta Hashem elokecha b'simcha, that curses befall, hostages befall because of a lack of simcha. You would wonder, why is the Torah saying that? You would think you can get punished because you didn't keep Shabbos and this. No, the Torah says because you weren't happy doing the mitzvah. What in the world? Because it shows you a Jew who doesn't serve Hashem out of joy, he'll fall. If now push gets to shove, he's going to fall. That classic famous story, it's a known story, and all the art school books, they bring the story of those 2 families who came to Ellis Island from Eastern Europe, right? They came on the boats, and family, 5 kids, 6 kids, and you enter New York. How was it back in the 1920s, 1910s? You have to work 6 days a week, and the day off is Sunday. If you don't show up to work Saturday morning, you're fired, right? That was everyone. So they got these 2 families, identical situation. They both found a job, and they didn't tell the boss they're not showing up Shabbat morning. They didn't tell them. They didn't come to work on Shabbos. They come to work on Monday morning. Sunday is a day off. Monday, you're fired. Okay, you're fired. Okay, find another job. And it's harder to find another job. Until you find another job, and the options start going down. And in the meantime, you get a bad name because this guy tells other companies don't hire these people, these Jewish people, because they play games on you and they don't work on. So in the end, after a month in New York, they reached a situation where they came to the Shabbos table. There was no food. There was no challah like they had 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, no challah, no gefilte fish, nothing. So one family, the children started crying to the father, what are we going to do? Like he started feeling the pain of the kids that they had no food at the Shabbos table. He broke. Next week, he worked on Shabbos. And 20 years down the line, he lost all of his kids. They all assimilated, intermarried, etc. The other guy, he had no food on the Shabbos table, but he didn't break. He took his kids on his lap and he says, my kinderlech, the Shabbos, our job is to just be happy and sing. Hashem wants us to sing songs. And they saw such a confidence in the father and an emunah that he was doing it with such a heart and a simcha. It stayed with them, and that simcha opened the door, a new door for them, that he had an opening. That's the power of simcha. There's a verse, Ki besimcha tetzeu. It's a verse, I think from Yeshayahu, about the future redemption. When Mashiach comes, Ki besimcha tetzeu. When you leave the exile, you're going to leave with joy. Rav Nosson says, read it like this, Ki besimcha, through, not with, but through joy, through the prerequisite of joy, you'll get out. Get out of what? Out of anything. Whenever you're stuck in life, the way out, believe it or not, is instead of thinking about, okay, what am I going to do? Thinking about the problem, it just sucks you in. You get more worried and more confused. And when you're in a worried state, you can't make the right decisions. You can't press on the right buttons to know what to do. So what's needed is I have to go in simcha mode. And the simcha mode creates a new scenario for an opening. There's this famous story. I said it hundreds of times, but it's so powerful. And we believe it's a true story because it's brought down in Holy Sfarim of the 2 brothers, the 2 holy brothers, Rav Elimelech of Bezhensk and Rav Zusha Napoli, that they went around incognito. For a time, they went undercover without any gabayim, without looking like a Rebbe. They went undercover for whatever reason, spiritual reasons they had. And they arrived in a little shtetl that there was a curfew at 9 p.m. And anyone on the streets after 9 p.m., they were arrested, put in the jail until the morning, until they see the documents, see who they are, and they let them go. That was a preliminary against robbers and thieves and murderers, etc. So, arrives quarter to 9, they arrive in this village, and they still don't have a place where they're going to sleep and where to stay. 9 p.m., they're on the streets. The police see them. They don't know who they are because they're dressed undercover, like regular Yidden. They take them and put them in the jail cell. In the jail cell, it was one big room with mattresses all around, and the toilet in the middle of the room with the stench, which means you can't daven, you can't learn, you can't do anything. So Rabbi Elimelech was a bit broken because it's right in the middle of the night, and they didn't yet say the Kriyat Shema and Arvit, and he was broken. And Rav Zusha said, why are you sad? He said, I can't daven, can't learn. Even Gehinnom is better. At least in Gehinnom, you can cry to Hashem. But here, I can't even do anything. So Rav Zusha said, you, my super duper brother, Rabbi Elimelech, who's never missed an arvit in his life, super duper tzaddik, don't you think that maybe Hashem wants you to do the mitzvah in this format? What format? The halacha says that when you're in such a situation, you can't daven and learn because of the stench of a toilet, a graf shel re'i, it's called in the halachic terminology. So what it says to do is you have to say in your heart, God, I want to do your will, but I can't because of the situation. So let it be, let it be considered your will, as if I did the mitzvah, and you are rewarded as if you did. It's called the famous ke'ilu, as if, and you get rewarded as if you did it. So you, my super duper brother, who's never missed Mariv, look what Hashem wants of you. You should be honored. You should be delighted. And he said, you're right. And they started dancing. Typical Hasidic story. They start dancing, and they're happy. And all the inmates, Goyim and Yid, and see these two Jews dancing. What's going on? They see them looking at them. They take everybody's hand and they make a hora around the toilet bowl. So they're all dancing. This guy is singing about his wife. This one's singing about his vodka. Everyone has a different reason why they're singing. And the warden comes. He's here, everybody singing in not loud music. He's like, what's going on? You're supposed to be sad. It's Tisha B'Av in the jail cell. What is it? You guys are happy. So they told him because of the toilet bowl. He said, oh, really? He opened the cell. He took out the toilet bowl. 5 minutes passed. The stench went away. Rav Zusha told him, now you can daven. What was the idea? The point is so unbelievable, and it's real. That the simcha actually creates a new solution that wasn't there at all. I'm sorry to tell you, you have terminal cancer. I'm sorry to tell you, you have this and that. In other words, Yehush, there's situations in life that corner you. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? You feel totally cornered. And the more you think about it, it just sucks you into the negativity, and you can't think properly anyways. What's the solution? Yes, run away from it. Yes, because you're not in any mode to be able to deal with this challenge as you are. I have to get into simcha mode to build up the simcha. And in this, it creates an opening, B'ezrat Hashem. Rav Nosson, he brings down what's called the Fabulous Five. 5 major advice, how you can always find a way how to be happy. So number 1, we already used telling jokes. Telling jokes, acting silly is a mitzvah. Yes, it's very, very big. Even if it's a stupid, silly joke, okay? Another joke I have to give you guys. How do we, but no, you won't get this joke. It's true. Okay, here. There was a we call this in Arabic an ahabal. Ahabal is like a real tembel, a really stupid guy, a Polak or a Polak Nufi, a Kurdi, and he came to the doctor with major head pains, and the doctor says, "Listen, we have to do a CAT scan. We have to do a CAT scan to see what's in your head. I have to X-ray. I can't just now tell you what happened." He's okay. So they do an X-ray. And they come back with the X-ray, and he says, "We don't see there's anything in your head. Your head is empty. We've never seen such a thing before. We have to open up your head. We have to do a surgery, open the skull to see why there's nothing in your head." He said, "Okay." They did a surgery. They opened the skull, and they see nothing in the head. Nothing. Just a very thin cord going from right to left. The surgeon didn't know what it was. He cut it, and the guy's ears fell off. Okay, stupid jokes, silly, but it makes you smile. You're also smiling. So everyone's smiling. This simcha, even though it's stupid, well, come on. He's not yet smiling. Oh, you're half smiling. Come on. Please get there. Okay, got it. This smiling itself, even though it's not the real thing, but it's a simcha that opens up to the real thing, B'ezrat Hashem. That's one advice. Number 2, music, singing, dancing. Yes, it's not a mitzvah to be, driving to work now, enough to be serious. Put on music, man. Put on anything that makes you boogie and move and feel good. It's a big thing to dance. Yes, dancing and simcha. Have you ever been in Meron Lag BaOmer? Have you seen Meron Lag BaOmer? You can't not just stay there when you see 5,000 people jumping up and down. You also have to jump up and down. It's unbelievable. It goes with you, right? When you're like kosher trance music, you can't just walk by and not move. You move. Okay, that has an influence on you. That's music. Number 3 is finding the good. Looking for the good points. Stop being negative. Look at the good. It's not easy, of course, we know. You have to really work on this. But to know that looking and focusing on the good is a way how to work on being besimcha. If you're always looking at the bad, nothing's going to move in life. Number 4 is to give thanks to Hashem. The very first thing a Jew does when he wakes up is Modani. You start the whole day after Modani. Sometimes you have a guy, he wakes up like Oscar the Grouch at 10 o'clock. Oh, I missed my this, I missed my that. And he just gets out of bed and he's Oscar the Grouch. And we saw such a person, go back to bed, say Modani, and get out a second time. You can't see, you forgot to say Modani, go back to bed, say Modani, and then get out. Okay, Modani, Hoda'ah, giving thanks is one of the greatest things. When you remember that you don't deserve anything, everything is a gift. No, but this didn't work out. I did this, I invested so much and it didn't work out. Why did you do this to me, God? It's a gift. Remember what you also did. The things Hashem, if he wants to be exacting with you, you shouldn't be here now after what you did. But he's kind in everything. So you take advantage, you realize that, you have a recognition and appreciation and give thanks. Number 5, that's number 4. That is number 4. I said already. Telling jokes, dancing, finding the good points, giving thanks. It's 2 separate things. And number 5 is looking at the future. In other words, if you know that in the end, in the end, everything's going to work out, so why are you sad now? If you know in the end there's going to be Tchet HaMetim, there's going to be Mashiach, there's going to be Beit HaMikdash, there's going to be a major consolation for these 2,000 years of exile, it's going to work out in the end. So why are you so upside down now? No, but this and this and that. When a person is looking just at the present, they have to be negative. It's automatic that person is negative when you look just at the present. What's the secret of Yiddishkeit? Is we connect the future redemption to the present, right? That famous picture from the Holocaust that you have that old Jew and the Nazis are cutting his beard and he's smiling. Why is he smiling in that picture? You know that the famous picture, they're smiling. He's smiling because he knows that in the end, we're going to win. I heard a story recently from a lady who heard it directly from this lady. A very weird story, but it looks like it happened. There was a lady and a daughter who went to Auschwitz together from beginning to end. That already is crazy. The chance of that happening is really odd. But she made it. And they asked her, and she was a religious lady, a God-fearing lady. They asked her, and how did you do that? How did that happen? She said, as soon as they arrived in Auschwitz and she saw the whole terrible scenario of the chimneys and the stench and everyone in the black and white, the criminal outfits, and the whole misery that there was in Auschwitz, she started to crack up. She started to laugh and laugh and laugh. And so the Germans were a bit scared to do anything to her because she was cracking up. They were scared. She's like, hooji booji, something's off here. They were scared to touch her. And they asked her, and why were you cracking up? You don't see sadness, you don't see pain, Jews being killed? She said, I was laughing because these Germans are so stupid. You don't realize you're going to pay the price. Hitler, you don't know that by doing bad, you're going to pay the price. Are you normal? These Hamasniki, for example, they shech babies and they think it's the right thing. How off? Rashi gives a rule. Rashi in Parshat Shlach about the Meraglim, the spies. How did the spies start off? With a word of truth. They came to Moshe Rabbeinu with the fruit of Eretz Yisrael. And what did they say? Tova haaretz me'od me'od v'zeh pirya. The land is very good, and here are the fruits. Okay? So Rashi brings on the spot the question. If their whole intent was to say slander, to speak to badmouth Eretz Yisrael, so why did they start off with something good? So Rashi brings the rule. Kol sheker she'ein ba'emet eina mitkayem. Any sheker that you want to give over that doesn't have some truth attached to it will not be accepted. Because the way of people is, how does a bad person do bad? He has to convince himself that what he's doing is right. He starts to justify, oh, I was brought up from a broken home. I have every right to steal now and to kill because it's not my fault. It's my parents' fault. It's my genetics. And then they find an excuse, a teretz, to justify doing bad. So that way they have like a heter. It's okay. I'm doing bad. It's a heter. Okay. So that's taking sheker and hiding it behind the emet. Okay. But now there reaches the point when the sheker gets thin and thin and thin, and the emet gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and the sheker is like a big fat blob. And you can't find a big fat piece of sheker behind a thin piece of emet. You can't hide behind it, okay? So Rabbi Nachman brings this rule that once it becomes exposed that this is sheker, then the sheker falls. Because the only way people convince themselves to do something which is crazy and wrong is they convince themselves. They try to put some emet into it. But when it becomes so obvious that it's sheker, that's the downfall. That's how it falls, okay? So this lady, she said, she was cracking up because it was so obvious these guys are going to pay the price. They're going to pay. No one gets away with doing bad in this world. No one. Because because we believe also resurrection and punishment is everyone's getting their pay, their pay. So they were laughing. This old man was laughing, she was laughing, and we have, like we say, vatischak liyom acharon. There's a pasuk, oz v'hadar levusha, vatischak liyom acharon. Who has the last laugh? There's a battle, right? He punches, he punches, he punches. Who has the last laugh? Baruch Hashem. We have the last laugh. That's our thing. That's our tolerance of being a yid, is that we have the last laugh. We have this patience, just waiting, and until it comes. But patience is a Jewish quality. We're able to wait and wait and wait. It's like the famous story of Napoleon. He walked into a shul in Paris on Tisha B'Av, and he saw everyone on the floor, and he's asking, why are they mourning? He said they're mourning over their temple. Yeah, and when was it destroyed? Over 1,000 years ago. And they're still mourning? He said, yes. So they're going to see the rebuilding for sure. If they're able to mourn and wait for it so long, and they have patience for it to come back, it's going to come back in the end. Okay, so this is the fabulous 5 advices on simcha. If this doesn't work, then this works. If this doesn't work, this one. Sometimes you need a combination, but you have what to maneuver, and we have a reason why to be happy always, like this famous statement, mitzvah gedola liot b'simcha tamid. That means even when you're faced with a challenge, tries to bring you down, you have to realize, I can't stay here. I can't stay in this bad place because it'll destroy everything. To stay in depression and sadness is no mitzvah at all whatsoever. Person has to get out ASAP and use positive ways. Doesn't have to be drugs and stuff like that. It can be a thing which is close to you already, which is the advice, the handles that we mentioned in using Simcha B'ezrat Hashem. All right? That's the first thing we wanted to go into. And now the main theme of the class tonight on patience B'ezrat Hashem. There's a story with Rabbi Nachman and one of his disciples, Rav Chaikel. They were once traveling in the wagon. Rabbi Nachman lived, by the way, in the early 1800s. Okay, this is before electricity. So traveling in a wagon, and Rabbi Nachman was sitting in the wagon with his eyes closed, like in a dveikut, in a state of connection and meditation, whatever. And Rav Chaikel saw that he wasn't there, and they passed by a village where this Rav Chaikel had a cousin who was very, very poor, and he very much wanted that his cousin get a bracha from Rabbi Nachman. He didn't want to bother Rabbi Nachman because he was in a state of dveikut, of meditation and connection to God. So he took his initiative to tell the driver, please turn into this village. They went into the village. They stopped the wagon in front of the house of his cousin. At that point, Rabbi Nachman opened his eyes and he pretended as if he doesn't know what's happening and just went with the flow. Rav Chaikel opened the door. He went out. Rabbi Nachman went out of the wagon. He knocked on the door of his cousin. So you can imagine, his cousin opened the door. He sees Rabbi Nachman. He was a follower also of Rabbi Nachman. He sees the Rebbe at his door. He almost fainted. He said, oh my God. So Chaikel told his cousin, can you invite us in? Do you have something to give the Rebbe, some cake and cookies, whatever? He said, I have nothing in my house. Nothing. So he said, maybe take your wife's Shabbos candlesticks and pawn them by a neighbor. And with the money, quickly go and buy something, some punch, some drinks, and some cakes. So I'll do that. It was the middle of the winter. He invited them in. He quickly took the Shabbos candlesticks of his wife, silver candlesticks. He sold them or he pawned them. He bought some food, came back, okay, and he prepared a table. And he ordered the Rebbe with some food, like you're supposed to honor tzaddikim like that. So then Rav Chaikel noticed that his cousin's children walking by barefoot. This is in the winter, okay, Ukraine, cold Ukraine, barefoot in a wooden house. They have some eating, obviously, and they're barefoot, no shoes. So Rav Chaikel told the Rebbe, give him a bracha. Look, Rachmanos, look, he has no shoes. Rabbi Nachman said, I have no bracha to give him, your cousin. I have no bracha to give him. If you want, you can give him a bracha. Rav Chaikel started to panic, like maybe he was stepping on the feet of his Rebbe, entering his domain. He said, I'm scared to give him a bracha. He might kill me. It's something bad here. No. I allow you to give a bracha to your cousin, and it won't hurt me at all. But I won't give him a bracha. He said, are you sure I can give a bracha? Yes. Are you sure? 3 times? He said, okay. He asked everybody to move to the side. He asked his cousin, bring me a bucket with a ladle with water. A bucket with water and a ladle. He put the bucket in the middle of the room, and he took water and just spilled it on the floor. And with his hands, he pushed in all 4 directions, abundance to the north, abundance to the south, abundance to the east, abundance to the west. And then they left. After they left, a few hours later, they hear like Ukrainian knocks on the door, like, hello, like an Ivan knocking on the door. Hello, open up. He opens the door. It's a group of these Ukrainian hunters who sell their furs. and they once in a while come to this village to sell furs. They're from the foxes and the wolves that they catch, etc. And he said, we're hungry and tired and thirsty. Do you have anything to give us to eat? So I have nothing, some cakes. He said, they gave like a stash of money. Go buy us some stuff. We'll wait here. We're just so tired. We have no strength, no koch to go down the street to the local hotel, motel, the kretschma that we stay in. We don't have koch for that. Take care of everything for us. So he did that. He bought them drinks and food and everything. And they were very happy. He said, we like it here. They bought him vodka also, of course, with vodka. So they said, we like here. You know what? We're going to come back in 2 weeks. We're giving you money already, pre-deposit. When we come back in 2 weeks, we want to have ready food and drink, have everything ready for us. I said, okay. And here's an extra tip. So he was happy. Things started to move. They came back in 2 weeks. They said, we see you did a good job. We don't have to come here every time. We'll come drop off our merchandise. We want you to sell our merchandise. We don't have to come and schlep all the way to this village to sell our furs. We want you to sell it for us because we see you're an honest man, you're a good person. So we're going to bring now a whole stock of our furs. And every few months, we'll come to pick up the money. And we'll bring new merchandise. So it started to move and move. And he started going to other villages, selling the furs. And he was doing well. He was making a profit. And he started to sell dairy and cheese. Things started to move. Now, Rabbi Nachman lived in the village of Breslov, and the marketplace in Breslov was facing his house. And this cousin, in the beginning, when he started getting on his feet, he would come to the marketplace and from time to time come to Rabbi Nachman, say hello, and give him some tzedakah, whatever. And they reached the point where he stopped going to visit Rabbi Nachman. He stopped. Why? Because he was like the guys in the trade markets. He was like running, buying, selling. He had no time anymore. He was just buying and selling in the marketplace. So one day, after like several months passed, or maybe several years, Rabbi Nachman got up from his table, went to the window. His window faced the marketplace. And on the market day, that was the market day, he sees the cousin of Heikel running around, like I said, these busy, brokers and everything, buying and selling. He knocks on the window loudly, his glass window, the window pane of his house, so that his cousin can hear him knocking. So the cousin turns, like he's busy, but he heard the knocking, and he sees the Rebbe. And the Rebbe goes to him like this: "Come here, come here." Okay, me? He said, "Yeah, you come here." So he came to the window. Shalom Aleichem, how you doing? Great. Tell me, have you had time today to look at the sky? And the cousin looks at the Rebbe. He says, "Excuse me, but why? What in the world do I have to do with the sky?" So he said to him, in 50 years from now, there'll be other horses, other merchandise, other people here in this market day, and you and I will not be here. So I ask you, why don't you have time to even look at the sky? Rav Chaikel was in the room at the time. Rabbi Nachman told to Rav Chaikel, see what your bracha did. I didn't stop you, but look what your bracha did. He has no time even to think about his purpose and look at the sky. The idea of looking at the sky is taking time to forget about this world and to reconnect. Human beings, Hashem created us that we're always looking this way, this way, this way. And we need time to just look up sometimes, to look at the heavens, to remember about Hashem. This guy, with the bracha that he got of running after money, Rabbi Nachman knew this person would forget about Hashem. So the idea here is patience is a virtue in life that gives you a gift called Yishuv Hadat. Yishuv Hadat is the greatest gift a person can have in life. It translates as a settled mind. A person can have a lot of Torah in his head, a lot of Gemara and Mishnah and classes and built up 40, 50 years of classes and this and that, but he just takes it in and he's writing in his life, and the static of life doesn't allow him to settle the mind. It's called having a bracha of the mind being settled. You can't assume automatically that the mind is so strong that all the input information, all the Torah I'm learning will just go in the right place. You can't assume that. You have to take time for that to happen. Okay, settling of the mind is the greatest gift. But how does it take place? When a person isn't doing it on his own, so from heaven, they push a person backwards. He has what's called setbacks. The setbacks of life, the real purpose is to get a person to stop, wait a second, and think a little, and take it easy. But the test is how people take a setback. It's not working out. oh, Hashem doesn't want me. Even a setback in Judaism, we're talking about. When a person is on the run, he wants to learn more, daven more, become better. And I was doing only good things. Boom, they smashed me, pushed me back. What happened? What did I do wrong? What was wrong? This is a growth stage. It's not pushing you back because you're not deserving. This is how you grow. How do you grow? By getting pushed back. The pushing back in life creates what's called hamten, waiting, patience. And in the waiting process, you're bubbling, you're burning, you're bursting, but you got to wait. Because if you wait, then they open the door. Rav Nosson shows this in an example in Parshat Vayera. Parshat Vayera, which opens up with after the circumcision of Avraham Avinu. So it says there that V'hu Yoshev Petach HaOhel Kechom Hayom. That Avraham Avinu was sitting at the entrance of the tent in the heat of the day. What was the story on the Pshat? That Avraham Avinu was on the third day after his circumcision, and he was in pain, and he had bandages, and he was bleeding, and yet nonetheless, he was waiting at the entrance of his tent looking for guests to bring them in, right? And Hashem made out the sun. He took out the sun from its casing. He took the sun out of its casing. In other words, he made it super duper hot and burning so that no guests should be there. So that Avraham Avinu shouldn't work hard. Nonetheless, Avraham Avinu was waiting, and Hashem sent the three angels as the guests. That's the pshat of the story in Parshat Vayera. Rav Nosson looks at it like this. He says, Avraham Avinu represents every Jew. Every Jew is waiting. Yoshev means to sit, but Yoshev also means you're waiting. You're in waiting stage. The word yeshiva can mean you're waiting. Rashi says in many places that yeshiva is akava. It's waiting. So the person, the Jew, a Yid, he's waiting at the entrance of the tent. Why is he waiting at the entrance of the tent? Because the entrance is closed. So he's waiting for them to open it in front of him. And in the meantime, in the meantime, the person is being heated up by all the lusts and desires and distractions of this world. And that's the test. Do you say, I can't handle this anymore? I'm just taking off. I can't wait anymore. I've been waiting my whole life, waiting. I can't wait anymore. That's what most people say. I gave this a chance. I gave this a shot. I can't wait anymore. I'm just plutzing. Because the heat of the lust and desires and the tests of life are so intense that you feel I can't handle this anymore. But that's the test. The whole thing is to wait. The classic example of this is Eov. Eov, we know, was punished with leprosy. He lost all of his money. And the whole beginning, 35 chapters of Eov, is him complaining to his friends, Eliphaz, Elihu, and then he's complaining, that God is not right and just in doing this to me. All these verses in Eov about his suffering and it's not fair. And his friends are trying to convince him not to question Hashem's ways, that Hashem has his ways in doing it. So the only one who was able to convince him at the end was Elihu. Elihu ben Berachel. He gave 3 arguments to Eov, and he won him on the third argument. On the third argument, Elihu started off with the words like this: Katar li ze'er v'achaveka. Wait, it's on Hebrew, it's in Aramaic. Katar, wait, li, for me, ze'er, a little. Give me a moment, and I'll answer you something even better. And with that waiting that he made Eov wait for him to answer, he was able to convince Eov to be patient, not to question Hashem's ways. In other words, the third argument he used was, you have to have emunah. Until now, they were all using intellectual arguments, and he wasn't accepting anything. Once Elihu showed him that the way of Hashem is you have to have emunah, which means patience. Emunah means that something upside down is happening, and you have to believe that it's right side up. Actually, it's upside down. It doesn't make sense. How can I accept something upside down that it's good? If only with emunah. With emunah, you can see something wrong, and if you, with emunah to believe that it's really good, that's emunah. But it's patience. It's emunah that influences that I'm going to wait it out and wait for this to pass. Okay? With that, he was able to convince Eov, and the Pesukim say, as soon as Eov accepted this judgment, then Hashem switched everything. He healed the leprosy. He got his money back. You can see in the book of Eov that he got everything that was taken away was brought back. What was the test? To be patient, to wait and wait and wait until the salvation comes in. That's a difficult trait, but that's a Jewish trait, and that's the way a person comes to Hatzlach. Most people say, but I'm waiting my whole life and this and that. I'm waiting to get married. I'm ready this age. You have to, nachon, there's waiting and pain, but you have to wait and make sure you're doing the right thing in the waiting. That's another thing. Oh, I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. You have to check again and again and again that I'm waiting in the right address. I'm waiting at the entrance of the tent for them to open the door. I'm not budging from this. So this is what's called patience. And Rabbi Nachman teaches that this is the gateway to the highest levels of the Torah. The highest levels of the Torah and the Kabbalah are called the Keter, reaching the Keter. To explain, there's 4 levels of the Torah that we all know: Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod. The 4 levels of the Torah, the simple meaning of the Torah, the Remez, the hints, the Midrashim, and the secrets of the Kabbalah. There's also a 5th level called accessing the Keter. Keter in the Kabbalah is the gateway to what's called the infinite light. In Hebrew, Or Ein Sof, the infinite light. This infinite light, this level of Torah, if you want to call, was what Hashem used to create the world. The creation of the world, the blueprint, when it says, there's a pasuk in Mishlei, that the Torah says about itself, Va'eye etzlo amon. The Torah says, I was used by Hashem as Amon. What's Amon? So the Midrash says, Al tikre Amon ela Uman. Uman means not Uman Rosh Hashanah by breast. Okay. Uman, Umanut. I mean, that also, but we won't go into that, okay? Uman is a craftsmanship. Umanut. Like the famous teaching we all know, that when Hashem created the world, he used a blueprint. Like every architect makes a design, makes a blueprint. You don't have an architect, okay, let's build a building, bring the stones, bring the mortar, bring everything. No, you have to design on the paper how many centimeters here, where the steps are going to be, how many floors, the bricks, the garage, everything. So too, Hashem used the Torah. He looked into the Torah and created the world. Which part of the Torah? So the Zohar says it's called Amon Mufla. The umanut, the craftsmanship, the workmanship that Hashem used to create the world. Which blueprint did he use? The level of Pele, Mufla. Pele refers to this level called the Keter, this high level. Because it's Pele means something which is removed from you. Bamufla mimecha al tidrosh, something which is removed from you. And this level of Torah wisdom is super duper far. Okay? But that's what was used to access to the creation of the world. This 5th level of the Torah is bound to be revealed by Mashiach. When it says in the Gemara, Psachim, page 88, that when the Jews said in the desert at Har Sinai, Na'aseh v'nishma, right, the famous story everybody knows, when the Jews said, we will do and we will listen, so came down 600,000 angels, and they put 2 crowns on the head of each Jew, and when there was the sin of the golden calf, came down 1,200,000 angels and took back the crowns. But the Gemara goes on to say, but in time to come in the future, Hashem is going to atid lachzir kadosh baruch hu et ha'atarot, et ha'ktarim. Hashem is going to bring back the crowns, like the pasuk says, the simchat olam al rosham. Okay, which translates simchat olam, the joy that was always there. In other words, the light of these crowns will be again al rosham, on their heads again. Okay, so from here you see the Torah saying that in time to come, the crowns are going to come back. What crowns are we talking about? What crowns did the Jews have for a temporary time in the desert? It was the crowns of the 5th level of the Torah, the Ketarim. Okay, these high levels. That's where they were holding. And to the golden calf, they lost it. Okay, but the idea of Mashiach's coming, he's going to come with when we say we're going to crown Mashiach, right? Melech HaMashiach. What is the significance of the crown? It's a revelation of this 5th level of the Torah. A crown, by the way, when a king wears a crown, what is the significance of a crown? A crown is like a boundary, it's like a wall. The crown is separating what's within the head of the king and his subjects. This is me and this is you. And there's a wall separating them. So too, by Kadosh Baruch Hu, his Keter is what's us, the creation, the world, and his essence, the infinite light. And what separates it is the Keter. Okay? But to access the Keter, we need what Elihu said to Eov. He said, Katar, wait for me. The word in Aramaic for waiting is Katar, the same letters as Keter. What does that mean? That means when Hashem feels a person is ready and needs the light of the Keter, what does that mean, need the light of the Keter? It means the following. It means when, after all Judaism, all the Torah I've learned, all we've gone through, and still I'm facing challenges and darkness and light where the Torah is not supplying enough consolation and strength to keep me going, It's a sign I need access now to the fifth level of the Torah. The fifth level of the Torah is light. Light. Or is gematria. Aleph is 1, Vav is 6, that's 7. Resh is 200, 207. That's exact gematria as Ein Sof, the infinite light. Ein Sof is 207. Meaning what? In this last stretch of the exile that we're in now, we have a new phenomena where Jews feel darkness in their life. They feel darkness in their Yiddishkeit. We're in a situation where the majority of Jewish people, 16 million Jews in the world, the majority have no idea what Yiddishkeit is, what Shabbos is, what Brit Milah is, what Torah is. They're totally removed. We've never been in such a situation where there's so much darkness. And even those Jews who are quote unquote from and religious and Torah observant, they have major ups and downs. The downs are just too dark. What's needed to shine light is Dafka, the fifth level. The Pshat won't do it. Gemara, Daf Yomi won't do it. Remez, Midrashim, all types of rabbis speaking nice ideas. If I'm having darkness in my light, it can only be filled by the Ein Sof itself, the highest level, which is the light of the Keter. But the way to get it is patience. And the patience is the scenario of being pushed back and having all these setbacks. Why this happening to me, Hashem? What did I do wrong? I'm a good person. The setbacks is to build the patience quality in order for you to be able to receive the light. Why do you need it, by the way? Why do we need patience to connect? Because by definition, we're finite. A human being is finite, and this light is infinite. If now a finite being tries to merge with something infinite, what will happen? It'll disappear. You'll melt down, you'll disintegrate. Because there are two opposites. You as a human being, you're finite, and the light is called infinite. So, but yet Hashem wants this connection to happen, but in a touching format. The Zohar calls it matei vela matei, which means reaching and not reaching, touching and not touching. That's how it is. In Judaism, you have an exposure to this light, and it's taken away. It's taken away because if it stays, you'll melt, you'll disappear. There's no reason for existence anymore. What Hashem wants is, while we're in a finite existence, to recognize Him, to run after Him, to try to find Him. So Hashem, how He works is He gives you an exposure of this light in your life. That happens to everybody. Everybody had a time, if it was at a concert or was at a wedding, everyone has a real light, and that keeps their drive going. And after having that exposure in my life, now I have what to look for. And you're looking for it. And in the meantime, all these setbacks, okay? But the setbacks are really a preparation to receive it, because how you take it. How do you take a setback properly? It's of simcha. And that's what the Pasuk said. The Pasuk that the Gemara quoted, V'simchat olam al rosham. How do you translate this verse now in this perspective? Simchat olam, meaning a Jew who, even though he's in this world, olam, which translates as a concealment, even though you went through so much garbage in life, so much ups and downs in religion, and also in physical existence, everything was ups and downs, and yet you worked on building simcha. So simchat olam means, while in this world upside down, everything mumbled, I tried and worked on building simcha. I made it as fundamental in my existence. If you do that, if you know how to take the setbacks with resilience, Al Rosham, you get to the Keter. You get to the Keter. You access it, and you have access to the highest levels of light, which shine into you hope. And like the story of Zusha and Melech, if you're always able to turn to simcha, giving resilience, Hashem creates openings. He opens it. Give a simcha, tetzeu. With the simcha, you get out of what? Of every time there was a challenge in life, I got out. How did you get out? Because I took it in a positive way. I didn't take it negative. I used it to build me with more simcha. I used it to go forward. It squeezed me. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you for the setback, so that I build up a resilience to work on a new level of simcha, to create a new solution. It happens. Sometimes you feel, okay, this business deal is finished. I lost now all my money. And then you're all negative. And you say, I'm going to hold on a little. Please, Hashem, I'm going to do something. You close the door. You start dancing by yourself, something. And all of a sudden, a phone call comes. Hi, I'm looking for this and this and that. You did that. And it's exactly the phone call that you needed to save your business deal. It just happens like that. It's crazy. It happens, though. It happens in many frontiers, many levels. But simcha is a key for getting to this Keter. And simcha allows you to have patience, to wait. They work hand in hand. Okay, that was a lot. That was pretty heavy. We should be zocher, B'ezrat Hashem, to build on simcha. leads to resilience. Resilience you do need, because setbacks happen left and right, but the setbacks, in order for you to experience the light of the Keter, which is needed now, this last stretch, there's one thing I didn't mention, is that they say the 4 exiles, Mitzrayim, Bavel, Yavan, and Edom. These 4 exiles correspond to 4 challenges that we all feel, but we all felt, and on a national level, we went through. So to explain, Mitzrayim is milashon metzer, tightness, tsar, it's tight. The Jews in Egypt were tight. Pharaoh kept on doing another edict, another thing. It made them tight until Vaya'anchu, the Jews cried to Hashem, help, right? And then they received the Torah. Fine. Bavel, what was Bavel? Rashi said on the word Bavel, balal etakol, bilbel etakol, it's milashon bilbul, confusions in the mind. Things are not clear. That's what Nebuchadnezzar came and did, made a big confusion. That was the Galut Bavel. Yavan, coming up Hanukkah next week, B'ezrat Hashem, where again it's the counter Yavan. Yavan is milashon Yeven Metzula, quicksand. Yeven means you're in one spot. Help me, you're drowning. It's like in Egypt, we're being squeezed. Here you're sinking. Help. It's like a lot of panic there. That's sinking. And Edom, believe it or not, Edom is similar to the word etymologic to medame, which means the faculty of imagination. What we have today, AI. Where you can fool a person and everything is so upside down and there's frustration. Confused. Bilbul hamedameh, where the imagination is so distorted due to the world, society, whatever. This is Galut Edom. So they say in Sfarim that these 4 exiles correspond to the 4 levels of the Torah. What does that mean? That in Mitzrayim, when the Jews came out of Mitzrayim, the main revelation of the Torah, which was enough to give them sustenance and strength to survive and be a Jew connected to Hashem, was the Pshat. Halacha leMoshe v'Sinai, Torah shebechtav, Torah shebe'al peh. The Pshat level of the Torah was enough to give them enough strength to survive. But it lasted until Galut Bavel, where now a deeper dimension of the Torah that was always there but hidden was needed to become revealed. That was the level of Remez, where Remez is you show the numerical gematrias and hints of similar words. You can take this idea connected to here because there's one word that's similar here and the numerical value. That idea of remez, of hints in the Torah, that was needed to counter Bavel, the bilbulim, the confusions. Yavan, the 3rd level, the drush, a darshan, a person who's a darshan, he has to dig deep to find something which you don't see at all in the Torah and bring it out to give you a moralistic message of hope and strength to go on. That's the idea of a drush, a darshan. He looks from an ethical bird's eye view of the Torah to give you the message and to use it. That's the idea of drush. And that was Keneged Yavan, because the quicksand sinking in, I need something to give me meaning and strength to get out of the quicksand. That was the level of the drush. Sod is this final exile, which is why, by the way, the secrets of the Zohar and the Kabbalah were revealed dafka in this final exile. We have Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Zohar revealed during the Roman Empire, and also the Arizal 400 or 500 years ago. Okay, so we're now in the last stretch of Sod. But now, right before Mashiach's coming, we're being hit with attacks that require the 5th level of the Torah. Okay, just one more thing. When a Sofer writes in a Sefer Torah Hashem's name, Yud, K, Vav, K, in the Yud, the first Yud, when the Sofer writes, he has to say, I already make Mekadesh. He has to say that he's not writing the 4 letters to say and L'Shem Kedushat Hashem. He has to say that it's for the sake of saying writing Yud Kevav K. So it has that holiness impression in it. When he writes the first Yud, on the roof of the Yud, there's a little line extending down. You can't see it. It's very thin. It's called Kotza, the Ot Yud. On the first Yud of Yud Kevav K, there's a line extending down. Okay, that means in Yud Kevav K, there's really 5 sections. And they say these 5 sections, the kotza, the little line of the ot yud, the letter yud, plus the first hey and the vav and the hey, are these 5 levels of the Torah. Okay, we are now so close to the end, and we're after the yud. Yud is sod, the Kabbalah. The first hey is the drush. The vav is the remez, and the last hey is the pshat. We're now after we're at the end of the Galut Edom, where it's the yud. We now are trying to access the little kotz, the 5th level before the coming of Mashiach, which explains why the tests today of futility and feeling out of it and feeling disconnected to Hashem are so strong, meaning a lack of light, pushing us that we need light. We need the light, infinite light to shine in our life. I can have all the Torah in the world, all the books. I bought all the art school books, all the Feldheim books, but I'm just depressed and out of it and lethargy and feeling futile and what's missing? Why I bought all the books. I'm learning Torah. What's missing? I go to all the classes, but I'm just so down and depressed and dark, and my davening also is just so heavy. What's missing? Light. Light. And they're squeezing me to get that light. I can't stay like this. I have to do something, or go forward, or go chas v'shalom deeper into the dark, into depression, God forbid. So they're forcing it from heaven, the situation today, now, before Mashiach comes, we have to access the Keter. You need it. But the condition is katar. You have to wait, right? You have to be in waiting stage. And in that waiting stage, to be able to accept it, you need simcha, all right? So we should be zocher, to have simcha, to have the patience and resilience, and allow us to have the Keter, each one to have the Keter, because that's the goal. Simchat olam al rosham b'ezat Hashem. All right, that was stage one. Stage two. Everything we spoke about tonight, all these ideas are based on and found in one lesson revealed by Rabbi Nachman in his book Likutey Moharan, lesson 24. The main themes of this lesson and how to internalize what we spoke about, the resilience, the patience, the Keter, the simcha, are all the main themes of this lesson 24. Rabbi Nachman's book, Likutey Moharan, is a very interesting book that doesn't work like other books. When you learn Parsha of the Week or Chumash or the Rabbi Kamenetsky's insights on the Torah, I don't know. When you learn Torah from whatever's available, you learn it, okay, and the ideas are sunken into your subconscious, and you go with it, or you may not go with it, but you've internalized it. Rabbi Nachman's book is literally like a living entity, which means as you learn his teachings, all of a sudden things in life become 3D. In other words, incidents and scenarios happening in life that didn't happen before you were learning this lesson. When you start learning them, you begin to activate things happening in life. You begin to see things happening which are directly related to the lesson that you're learning. It's something phenomenal. It's something which is not normal. You're learning a Torah teaching. It's like someone who's sleeping. Hey, Bert, wake up. Hey, Bert. Like you're pushing it and it wakes up. Yeah, I'm awake. It becomes a living entity. You begin to see things. Okay, bravo, that's great, but I want to change. It's one thing to see things happening in life, but I want to make that change. So there's another book. Rabbi Nachman instructed his disciple, Rav Nosson, to write prayers on the lessons of this book, Likutey Moharan. These prayers bring out the actualization of the lessons. There's only 2 books in Jewish history that have prayers written on them. You have the 5 books of the Chumash, and like the Gemara says, that David HaMelech wrote the 5 books of Tehillim on the 5 books of the Chumash, meaning his prayers, his cryings, and everything of David HaMelech in Tehillim is to come to fulfill what's written in the 5 books of the Chumash. That's why 5 facing these 5. The other book is this one, the Likutey Moharan, and Rav Nosson's prayers called Likutey Tfilot. It can be compared to an analogy that God forbid a person has like some skin disease on his elbow, and the doctor gave a prescription to buy a special expensive cream. So he goes to the pharmacy, he buys the cream. Okay, great, I have the cream. But you idiot, you have to apply it on the wound. You have to, once you buy it, you have to now apply it. So same thing. The Likutey Moharan activates remedies, spiritual remedies that you need, and then davening about it, articulating it in words, directs it to the place. Okay? Can you help me just give this out? We prepared here a QR scan of a 40-day challenge to everybody here. You don't mind maybe giving this out to the side right there. It's a QR scan leading to a WhatsApp group with a PDF file of this lesson and this prayer broken up in a 40-day scheme, 1 minute a day. Not too much time because people today don't have time. You give me 5 minutes, I can't do it. It's a 1 minute scheme, okay? The first QR there, you see? You can join the WhatsApp group. In the description is the PDF file. And the file we post, it's 40-day challenge. What's the purpose of the challenge? After doing this for 40 days, to see the change in your life, to see the simcha enhanced, to see light enhanced, to see your ability to have resilience enhanced in your life. And the second QR, what we do, breast of therapy, It took a year to prepare this class, by the way, and it's a lot of research and traveling. We were all over North America. This was a tour: Montreal, Toronto, Chicago, Los Angeles, Borough Park, Muncie, Lakewood, Highland Park, and now we're here. And tomorrow night is Great Neck, Miami, Baruch Hashem. So this is our job. We're involved in researching Rabbi Nachman's teachings and spreading them. Any support would be very appreciated. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much.